Today we will discuss leading a workforce across multiple generations, understanding each generation, learn what motivates them, and how they want to be managed. Today's workforce is more diverse than ever, with up to 5 generations working together. This creates both opportunity and friction. Research from Harvard Business shows all employees want meaningful work, growth, and respect, but how they define those differs. Each generation was shaped by different economic, social, and technological conditions. The modern workforce spans up to 5 distinct generations, with millennials comprising the largest share of the labor pool, followed closely by Gen X. Each group brings unique communication styles and expectations to the workplace. Baby boomers, born 1946 to 1964, value loyalty, job security, and traditional hierarchies. This group is characterized by strong work ethic, and many are delaying retirement or working past standard retirement age. Gen X, born 1965 to 1980, are often seen as independent and adaptable. Gen X workers value work-life balance, autonomy, and straightforward approach to communication. This demographic currently makes up a significant portion of mid to senior leadership. Millennials, sometimes called Gen Y, were born 1981 to 1996. As the largest demographic in the workforce, millennials place a high priority on purpose-driven work, collaboration, diversity, and rapid feedback. Gen Z, born 1997 to 2012, are true digital natives who value transparency, mental health, and social responsibility. Gen Z's share of the labor force has rapidly expanded, now frequently outnumbering baby boomers. The silent generation, born 1928 to 1945, is largely retired, but some members remain active in part-time or advisory roles. Navigating this unprecedented mix requires employers to balance different work styles and create inclusive, adaptable cultures. Baby boomers are optimistic, competitive workaholics with strong work ethic. They're team-oriented, loyal, and competitive. They believe achievement comes after paying one's dues and that you must sacrifice for success. Baby boomers were shaped by cultural events like the Vietnam War, the Civil Rights Movement, and Watergate. They're motivated by company loyalty, teamwork, and duty. They look for job security, recognition for experience, and structure or hierarchy, and they prefer face-to-face communication or phone calls. 49% of baby boomers expect or already are working past the age of 70 or do not plan to retire at all. 10,000 boomers each day reach retirement age. They're highly committed to work and value achievement and stability. X are flexible, informal, skeptical, independent, and self-reliant. Gen X resists micromanagement and prefers trust and independence. They're quick to move on if their employer fails to meet their needs, and they're resistant to change at work if it affects their personal lives. Gen X was shaped by cultural events like the AIDS epidemic, the fall of the Berlin Wall, and the dot-com boom. They're motivated by diversity, work-life balance, their personal professional interests rather than the company's interests. They want autonomy. Gen X prefers efficient communication, including phone calls or text messages. 55% of startup founders are Gen Xers, and by 2028, Gen Xers are expected to outnumber baby boomers. Millennials are open-minded, achievement-oriented, tech-savvy, collaborative, and feedback-driven. Millennials seek challenges, growth, development, a fun work life, and a work-life balance. They're likely to leave an organization if they don't like the culture. Millennials were shaped by cultural events like Columbine, 9/11, and the rise of social media. They're motivated by responsibility, the quality of their manager, unique work experiences, and they want growth and development, meaningful work, and frequent feedback. Millennials prefer quick, concise communication like instant messages, texts, and email. 75% of the global workforce is currently made up of millennials. 18% of millennial men ages 25 to 34 live at home with their parents. 12% of millennial women live at home with their parents. Millennials prioritize purpose and career progression. Gen Z are global, entrepreneurial, and socially aware. They're individualistic, and they're also digital natives. They're self-identifying as digital device addicts. They value independence and individuality and prefer to work with millennial managers, innovative coworkers, and new technologies. Shaped by cultural events like life after 9/11, the Great Recession, and access to technology from a young age, Gen Z are motivated by diversity, individuality, and creativity. They want purpose and inclusion, flexibility, and mental health support at work. Their communication style leans towards social media, text, and instant messaging. 67% of Gen Zers want to work at a company where they can learn skills to advance their career. 80% of them believe government and employers should subsidize, pay full tuition, or provide direct training for students. Gen Z is reshaping workplace expectations around well-being and values alignment. Knowledge check 1. Which generation values autonomy the most? A. Baby boomers. B. Millennials. C. Gen X. Or D. Gen Z? The answer is C. Gen X. Known for independence and self-reliance, Gen X prefers trust and dislikes micromanagement. Technology has shaped how each generation communicates. Baby boomers prefer face-to-face or phone calls. Gen X prefers emails or direct communication. Millennials prefer messaging or collaborative tools. And Gen Z wants fast digital short-form communication. Some common conflicts you may hear are that boomers feel others are being too informal. Gen Z might think others are being too slow, while managers in general are just wondering why everyone is not aligned. A key insight here is that misalignment is often about communication preferences, not capability. A tip for leadership is to match communication style to the audience. Be flexible, not rigid in your communication styles. Common challenges with communication include work ethic perceptions, communication misunderstandings, feedback expectations, and technology gaps. In this case study, you'll see this scenario where a Gen Z employee dislikes the scheduled meetings, but the Gen X manager expects structured check-ins. What's happening here, and how can you resolve it? The answer is to bridge the gap. Offer hybrid formats, set clear agendas, and respect both efficiency and structure. Remember to keep a leadership mindset. Avoid stereotypes and focus on individuals. Use generational insights as a guide, not a rule. As we mentioned before, each generation has different motivating factors. Boomers are motivated by recognition and stability. Gen X is motivated by flexibility and autonomy. Millennials are motivated by growth and feedback, and Gen Z are motivated by purpose and inclusion. Feedback strategies will vary across the generations as well. Boomers prefer formal and occasional feedback. Gen X prefers direct, efficient feedback. Millennials and Gen Z both want frequent, coaching-based feedback. Younger generations tend to expect more continuous feedback than the older ones. When it comes to engagement, for all of them, you'll want to personalize development plans, offer flexibility, and connect work to purpose. It's important to foster inclusion across the generations. Encourage cross-generational mentorship and encourage people to value diverse perspectives. As always, it is imperative to create psychological safety at work. Each generation tends to have their own strengths. Organizations that leverage generational strengths outperform organizations who don't. The strength that baby boomers tend to bring is their experience. Gen X brings stability to the team, while millennials and Gen Z drive innovation and agility. In this case study on performance expectations, you'll see that a baby boomer manager values long hours while a Gen Z employee prioritizes their boundaries. How do you manage the expectations? How do you balance fairness? The answer is that both perspectives have merit, and effective leaders bridge the gap by focusing on outcomes, not hours. When it comes to managing across generations, critical leadership skills include flexible communication, emotional intelligence, a coaching mindset, and adaptability. Great leaders ask, they don't assume. They actively listen. They adjust their approach to the person they're working with, and they build trust. Knowledge check 2. What is the most effective leadership strategy? A. Apply the same approach to everyone. B. Adapt based on individual needs. Or C. Focus only on one generation. The answer is B. Adapt based on individual needs. The key ideas we hope you take away from this are that generational differences impact behavior and the way teams work together. Motivation varies across the generational groups, and leadership flexibility is essential to making teams work cohesively and well together. Finally, create an action plan to put what you've learned into motion. Identify your team's generational mix, adjust your communication style, and personalize motivation strategies to your team. Reflect on what assumptions you have or had about the different generations. How will you adapt your leadership? Some additional resources on these topics are the book Multi-Generational Workplace by the Harvard Business Review and the podcast Work Life with Adam Grant.